Audio and audio going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and transitioning. Hello everyone, this is Darryl Webster, joined today by Tom Grissom. He's helping me out with a YouTube live experiment. My, I guess, initiative to try and get the word out about different tech, discuss it, talk with people who know about it and review it. So please excuse the hiccups and the fun that we're going to have as we do this, and we will try and keep it about 7 to 10 minutes so that you can get on with your coffee, your work, your day, and I can get on to my next appointment. So thanks for joining us, Tom. Let me just switch over to our host and guest view of things, and we'll double click on this and blow you up. That looks reasonably good. Let's transition to that. Nice. Okay, so yeah, thanks Tom for joining us. Can you just introduce yourself and say where you fit into the education and the tech world?
Sure. My name's Tom Grissom. I'm from Illinois, and I work for a university, particularly with teacher educators. We work with future teachers.
Great. And like I've been following some of your discussions, your work, and your blog posts, and you've certainly been throwing Office 365 and OneNote in the mix for how you deliver content. So it's been really good following you and learning from some of your opinions and thoughts as well. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Now tell me, what was in the news today on the intranets and the tweets about OneNote?
Well, hot off the press today with OneNote, they've come out with some more of their January updates. And in particular, this has been rumored for a while, but one that I've been interested in being an educator is the learning tools add-in for OneNote in particular. So they are starting to push that out for Office 365 institutions, and they're also building that in. This is another exciting thing from an educator standpoint, building in the class notebook into the OneNote Online experience, which means you just need a browser. You don't necessarily need the desktop client, although that's still an option.
And I understand too that that's important for the Mac world, for some of the people that are joining from Macs. We've got good coverage now on iPad, iPhone, Android, but it's just that Mac world that needs to be bridging.
Yeah, well, the Mac world and also the Chromebook world. This opens up a whole other audience for the Google schools and things. OneNote's one of those unique programs that I think is unmatched with any other service. So, I, as an educator, I use, all the different services and things just to keep up to date with things. But OneNote in particular, I'm such a fan of because it's so flexible and versatile for education.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just try and switch over to having a look at some of those changes. I have also brought up the web page, so it's there. Least I think we can. Again, sorry people for my fiddling around and trying to be the producer of the broadcast as well. So I've managed to present Tom up there in the top right hand corner so that he's part of the content, and we're also looking at the blog post as well. Now I am in a sense demonstrating OneNote and also the features of Windows 10. I'm using the Windows workspace or Inkspace rather, so I can flick through some of the content here on the screen, and I'll also click my pen, and that allows me to get into, come on, catch up with me, get into, there you go, the Windows Inkspace, and then we can start talking about some of the content and drawing on it. So hopefully that's going to give us a bit of fun.
I'm not seeing this, so you're going to have to describe it, or I could go into live, but as I said, it's probably going to be delayed quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It'll catch up with you. And yeah, that's a good point. So as we're broadcasting, we've got to figure out some kind of way of giving you some live feedback.
And being that you're on the other side of the world from me, and it's tomorrow there, so there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, there's a whole buffer thing there of about 18 or 19 hours, isn't there? So it will eventually catch up. We've got Windows Inkspace, and hopefully people on the broadcast are seeing that now.
Which I must say, with that Windows Inkspace, with the new anniversary update, another fantastic update for educators. The other thing is I'm a huge digital ink user, and for annotating over things, there are some really, really nice features, over and above what was before in Windows 10. The anniversary update added a lot.
Yeah, look, as a presenter, like a teacher or someone up in front of the class, sometimes you need to draw attention to content on the screen. And
all the time.
Yeah, I've been using a tool that's been out for a long time called, what is it called? Zoom It. Part
Zoom
of the
It,
system
yeah.
internal tools.
Oh yeah, forever.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's brilliant, and it takes a little bit of mastering with the mouse and a couple of shortcut keys, but the what I'm using at the moment on screen really has potential, because with one click I can take a screenshot. I've got my scribbling tools up on the top, and I can highlight and talk about content, and then get back to the live screen. But what I've you go ahead.
And importantly for students, you can put that little screen clip into a OneNote notebook, so the students have it after class, after the fact. So much of what we do as teachers is, we know our subject inside and out, so sometimes we're a little impatient with our students why they don't get it the first time. Well, it's because it took us 1,000 times to get it, and I'm huge on that. With our teacher educators. Note taking doesn't have to be ephemeral. It doesn't have to disappear. Let's take advantage. Let's take advantage of these tools, and put them out there so the students can have it after the fact. That's why we call it note taking, so they can go back and review that material.
You're starting to get all the thoughts and the creative juices going in my mind, because we could do a lot of topics on this. I know that even just the thoughts around, or even the research and studies around the benefits of being able to write and let those thoughts come out in a flow that kind of matches the pace of what you're writing. Yeah, lots of things. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some more calls together. So let me just get back to our... No! Are we back in live? I just bumped the old Surface dock. Are you still with me, Tom? Are you still with me, Tom? Ah, no. Tom, are you still with me? Oh, no. Let me try, and we've got the stream that's still going. We've got my mic there. We've got Tom somewhere over here. Tom is on hold. Resume call. Are you with me, Tom? Are you back?
You're back.
Oh my goodness. So I've got this standing desk, and I went to lean and put things back how they were, and I bumped the Surface dock, and everything became disconnected. Yep, this is great. This is really exciting. Daryl gets excited and everything turns to mush. Let's just try and get back to our looking at our blog posts. So we've got the blog post there. We've got Tom up in the corner. There is a delay for Tom, but we are looking at some of that content. So, strange, there's only 16 people that have shared this post, so we better change that after this broadcast and get it out there. But I think this has been huge news, as you said. What drew me to this post was stickers, learning tools, and Office Lens. But as I read...
Stickers are real...
Yeah, exactly. But as I read deeper, I saw that more of the features are now being rolled out into the Windows 10 app for OneNote, and that to me is probably the more exciting piece, because I know that the OneNote team are putting a lot of effort into trying to bring it up to par with the desktop experience. My opinion is that the Windows 10 app is far more friendly in terms of inking and presenting and sharing. What are your thoughts on that, Tom?
The two things that we're missing, of course, were the Learning Tools add-in and the Class Notebook add-in. Before today, that wasn't available out there, so now it is. Mine, on one of my systems, came in automatically. The other one, I think I had to go to Options to turn those on within the Windows 10 app. But the other thing with Learning Tools, just, and it might be psychological, but Learning Tools, the dictation feature in the new Windows 10 app, it seemed to be much smoother, much quicker. I've had a little bit of trouble in the past using Learning Tools with the OneNote 2016 desktop application. So I don't know, they're using that machine learning algorithm to go through there to recognize some of your, speech to text. And it didn't buffer on me as much And, like yourself, we produce a lot of online content. And one of the things that we strive for is providing transcripts and things out there for, accommodations, accessibility. And this alone, is going to save me so much time. I also do an audio podcast called Tech Talk for Teachers. So in making those transcripts, I can, and I've done some testing, I just basically put my speakers up to the microphone within the learning tools and let it play, and it's essentially doing my transcription for me.
Yeah, exactly. It was quite a surprise just opening up Office Lens at one point and seeing this additional feature. I must say that one of the main features I use about Office Lens is scanning receipts for expense claims. I'm sure I don't need to have those read out to me because, how much have you spent, Daryl, and how much do you need to do to claim it back? But from an education standpoint, brilliant.
Right. From an education standpoint, too, the thought processes and things, you mentioned a little bit about the research before, but it also, those modalities affect the way that we produce our material. And for, again, particularly students learning something for the first time, or, being a writer, writing things out, it's one thing to type something out. It's another thing to naturally speak it, because we don't write the way that we speak. And then it's even a different experience to have your words read back to you. And those are different perceptions that you have. And, hopefully that will improve your writing over time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, just to pause there too. Unfortunately, the bumping of the cables and things is also disconnecting my video. So if I look like I've got a strange expression on my face, that's why. So let's just switch over now to having a look at the Windows 10 application. I know there's plenty more that we can highlight in there, but we want to keep that relatively short as far as broadcasts are concerned. So I've just flicked that up on screen. I know that there's going to be a delay for you, Tom, as you're looking at it. I think I've figured out another way that I can present this to you. But we'll do that a bit later. So what I'm looking at now on screen with everyone is the Windows 10 application for OneNote, and I've managed to get the Class Notebook add-in or the tools available in there. So tell me, like, when you said that you saw it earlier than most of us because you had something turned on in the OneNote application. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, there was an experimental feature that's been out over a month, I believe, or so, out there that basically they're I think experimenting because they have so many different form factors and different platforms out there. It's as you move from like an iPhone to an Android to a Chromebook to a Windows 10. Sometimes the tabs are across the top, sometimes they're on the left side, sometimes they're on the right side. And for a seasoned, user of computing, that's not a big deal. But again, whenever you're working with first-time users, again, particularly, K-12 students, that can really throw you interface-wise for doing that. And, not everybody thinks the same way. Some people like things on the right, some people like things on the left, and same thing with the top and the side. But they're trying to, I think, give a little bit more consistency. And then the other thing, I'm using multiple devices more and more in the classroom. I've got my mobile phone with me all the time. But that screen real estate isn't going to reproduce, a full desktop, 23, 24-inch monitor. So those design considerations in the interface, those have ripple effects. So whenever you left Justify, and it's probably a question some OneNote users, why whenever you put something in or do a printout, why is it always on the left-hand side and always so big? Why don't they fill up the screen? Several different reasons. One could be for printing out. OneNote has an infinite canvas, and a printer doesn't understand an infinite canvas. And then secondly, if you only have so much screen real estate, if you put something, on your desktop system, say insert a picture, and it's over to the right side a little ways, whenever you visit that on your mobile phone, you might see a blank screen, even though it's there, because you're going to have to scroll, to see that. So in a mixed device world, which we're living in, those are challenges.
Yeah, like I've often thought about that when switching between a device versus the OneNote Online experience, and even things such as page order. If I create a new page within the app, it's great. There's this recent section, so it's very easy for me to find. But for someone who's visiting the section and for the first time in OneNote Online, they come back, that new page is way down the bottom. So that's a feature request I've had. So what I saw here, like within the application, as I was trying to catch up with you and find out how to activate it, was, as I'm showing on screen here, the Enable Experimental Features switch. So I turned that on, the OneNote Preview section. As I did that, I was prompted to restart the application, and I saw this treasure trove of features turn on. So there's a few that I was interested in. We'll talk a little about Class Notebook tools shortly, but being able to set a default font. You're able to do it in the desktop version. I love this. I've got a favorite, something that I find very readable, Sego UI, that's how you say it. What's your favorite font, Tom?
Big.
Big.
I like 20. I always change mine to 20 point.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, when you're presenting from it, that certainly makes sense.
Yeah.
Page views. So I'll just quickly click through now and show you. You might have seen this, everyone, as we were clicking back and seeing this preview of pages and sections. In the app, Windows 10 app, we've been used to seeing this grey panel here that lists all our notebooks. We can connect additional notebooks as well, but now we've got this page preview, which feels a lot more like the sections and pages experience that you get within the desktop version. And this, I guess, goes back to your point, Tom, about having a consistent experience of navigating pages. So that's a good feature. We're going to get into looking at that. So now let's just take a little look at the Class Notebook tool. And this is something that, as I learned that there's been more and more focus put on developing the Windows 10 app and bringing it up to speed, I started to wonder, what about all these add-ins that have been created for the OneNote Class Notebooks and that whole experience? How are they going to get onto that? And it's really quite timely for us because we're topsy-turvy down here in the Southern Hemisphere. New Zealand, Australia, Southern Hemisphere places, we're all enjoying summer holidays and school's out. So as teachers and schools come back with the students at the beginning of this year, then they can benefit from some of these tools. So your Class Notebook tab is right here. And your first impressions, Tom, as you started to look at this, how have you found it within the app so far?
Well, it's huge for schools because one of the challenges businesses don't understand about schools is the scalability that we have to deal with whenever we roll something out. And I'm not a huge fan of add-ins for that very reason. Within my college, we have 9 different departments, over 500 some computers. And if you have to touch every computer, even if it's 5 minutes, that's a considerable amount of time. So having that built into a browser, great. That's instantly accessible, very easy to do. The other recent addition, in the last 6 months or so, is that teachers only section, which a lot of teachers have been asking for because that allows a teacher to stage material. And then the Class Notebook, it's very easy to distribute a page from that teacher only section when you're ready to let it go and let the students see. So it gives the teacher a lot more control and a lot more management functions. And that might not seem like a big deal, but this really is a big deal because for the first time, teachers have the ability for every single student, and I call them semi-private notebooks because every teacher can see every student's notebook. The student has a quote-unquote semi-private notebook that only themselves and the teacher sees. So that means you can differentiate instruction, individualize instruction very easily. And it's all just a click away. These tools make it so easy. Literally in 2 clicks, you can have an assignment distributed to the entire class, or if you need to go out there and customize things and personalize some of the learning experiences, it's very easy to do.
Yeah, that experience we all know so well of take one and pass it on, and we still do it in business too when passing things around pieces of paper. This really helps solve that problem.
Well, it brings.
You go ahead.
it brings a new meaning to, get everybody on the same page, because
Yeah.
literally everybody is looking at the same page.
Yeah, that's my favourite. I don't think it's a cliche. I think it's a positive thing to say that one, but I love using that phrase. So I think you mentioned too. I haven't really explored it enough yet because I got so excited in setting all this up. That you mentioned that the Class Notebook tools are available in the online experience as well. Is that true?
Yeah, as of today.
Wow. So that's the learning tools and the Class Notebook tools.
Yeah, that's why it's a big deal. It's like instantly available to anybody that's running the Class Notebook experience for all Office 365 education schools.
Education tenants. That's right. I think that was the key thing in the blog post.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a mystery to me how many different flavors and things they have with the different Office 365 tenants, and that's something, it's just a mystery. The one big thing that we're waiting for in education, I was just talking to a fellow educator, is the Learning Tools plugin within OneNote Online. That still has not shown up, although they say it's on the way.
Okay, no, I understand that. So yeah, we do have the Class Notebook tools in the online experience, but not the learning tools yet.
Right, and I'll also mention because Word processor is so important, within the Word Online experience for my personal Microsoft account, I have parts of those learning tools. It's the Immersive Reader. You're familiar with that, aren't you, Daryl?
I've done a little bit of work with it, just briefly looking at it.
But within Word Online, I believe it's underneath the Review tab, they're going to be adding the Immersive Reader, which basically is like, it'll read the text back to you in a synthesized voice, which, again, for a student, or somebody that struggles with reading, but the Immersive Reader is much more than that, because it's based upon some dyslexic research, and it'll change font spacing and line heights, and it'll highlight words word by word as it's read, so it's for eye tracking and some things like that. So that's rolling out as well. Again, that's for some reason, and I can't crack the combination. That's available for my personal Microsoft account. It has not made it into our Office 365 education tenant yet, so I'm still waiting.
Yeah, so there is a few different ways that Microsoft are releasing the software and services, so you can appreciate that. So yeah, just I guess finishing off and spending a few minutes just looking at this Class Notebook add-in within the Windows 10 application. You will recognise, if you have been using this add-in, that all the tools are there. I've opened an example up of a Class Notebook, and if we just go back to my view of the tabs and sections, I've got my collaboration section, my content library, and then two students, Elizabeth Swan and Jack Sparrow, aptly modelled after the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Do you have a teachers only?
No, I haven't actually looked into that yet. So
there is an option to turn that on.
Excellent.
It's underneath Managed Class Notebooks, I believe.
Oh, okay. Hey, well, let me just do that, just because I like to do things on the fly. Let's manage that notebook. Bring that frame over here so we can actually look at it together.
I'm not able to see what you're seeing, so just talk me through it.
I will talk you through it. We'll work out how to get around that for future broadcasts.
I do a lot of audio podcasts, so I'm used to that.
Yeah. It feels like a laggy conversation. So we have, here's my notebook. I've got the sections that are standard for my students. Enable teachers only section group.
There you go. That's it.
All right, let's click on that and see what effect that has. And I do like the lock collaboration space switch as well, which
that's another new feature.
Some teachers that I was doing some work with last year were quite keen on that feature, and I think if there's some way to put that into the OneNote application, so you didn't have to go off to a web page and click that switch, that would be brilliant too. So we've got this far. Let's go back and have a look at our notebook and maybe do a quick sync and see if we'll get that section coming through. So while that's ticking away, let's continue to look at some of the other tools. So as you said, Tom, there's the brilliant feature of being able to distribute pages or whole sections to the student notebooks, which do you prefer to use? Just a page or a section?
I usually do page.
Yeah.
That, educationally for chunking material, if you start delivering, excuse me, you start delivering too much, you overwhelm somebody. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to learn all this. In education we call that chunking. So it's much better to kind of piecemeal it out and build upon it. And before long, that's the other great thing about OneNote is you look back. You start a new unit this week, and it takes you 2 weeks to go through the unit. By the end of the 10th day or whatever, you've got an archive history of everything that you've done. So the other thing in education we have to go back and review the material. Well, it's just a click away. Let's go back 3 days and let's talk about what we did. That rehearsal and that recall and all those cognitive things that help us learn.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I guess too the other side to revealing this content as you progress through the unit that you're studying, or the section in the year, the curriculum thing. Pacing the students at the same time. I know that some students will grab an exercise book or some work, and they like to race off ahead, and that's good. They can do things at their pace, but this still puts the control of that flow in the teacher's hands. But it also allows you to provide those challenge
exercises for those that might want to go off and explore something a little bit differently. That's the customization. You're in complete control of that, and you're doing it toward the student interest, so they're motivated to learn it.
Right. Now, this teachers only section hasn't appeared yet, but let me just try and simulate that idea. I've got my forces in motion section, and I do have that as a unit. That's a whole section file. Now, the reason I like that is I can transport this whole unit around. Now, imagine that this was sitting in the teachers only section, and I only wanted to reveal lesson 1. So that would be a case of clicking a page and saying distribute that page, and then let's move the floating head of Tom out of the way so we can see the content, and this allows me to push it through.
You could select three. You could select 3 students or all the students. You've got some choices there.
Yeah, well, let me.
So that's it.
I haven't planned out my sections in the student's notebook correctly, like that best practice. I would probably create a section at this point, or before the year has begun.
Yeah, I would advise let the teacher be in control of those naming conventions. Otherwise, students going to call it everything under the sun, and you're not going to be able to find things easily.
Yeah, well, there's a best practice I try and put out there, where if you know the units you're going to cover, why not create those sections within the student's notebook?
Right.
They sit in there empty, and you can just distribute the pages as you need to review the content.
But now with the teacher only section, you can do that on your own time and not feel so rushed.
So I'm clicking a section. I'm saying handouts, and it's distributed that to. It's like all students. It appears.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's good. All right. So apart from that, we've got the review tools. So let me just knock the old distribute page thing out of the way. We can choose a section that we want to review. So we've got handouts.
The review side of things, they've added something recently that I think that you might see a checkbox that says sort students by last name or something like that. That was a common teacher request. Then it's a lot of teachers, alphabetically in their grade book or whatever. That's just a convenience thing for the teacher. But it's very, whenever you click on any particular student, you can jump to any student by just clicking on their name, and then there is whatever section that you're in. You can change those sections, and it's so easy to navigate. And think of that. Compared to the old days, we used to have to gather, these 3-ring digital or 3-rings analog binders and carry them home and back and forth and things. Literally, it's just a click away now, and you can do it from your phone, anywhere there's an internet connection.
I would probably ask for a quick search box there too, if I'm grading 30 students, to just quickly look up a name. But if I can be cheeky here, it's one of the last known forms of discrimination in tongue-in-cheek. It's called alphabetical discrimination. I'm a Webster, and I'm usually further down the list.
I was right in the middle, so it didn't matter too much.
There you go.
One way or the other.
There you go. Well, okay. So it looks like we can review students' work. I can navigate around the the different sections. So that's cool. And then there's some standard buttons there for creating a notebook, adding and removing students. I dare say will probably take me through to the web page itself. That is loading up there on another page. So that's taking me through to that manage student experience and adding teachers, which we're familiar with when we create our notebooks. There we go. So
Yeah. So now it's all online in a browser now. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and certainly a click away.
Now you're probably demonstrating the Windows 10 app right now, though, aren't you?
Yeah, so I'm clicking those buttons and it launches.
Same thing now available in the online on the browser.
Right. Wow. And then a final click there for professional development. So that'll go off to the awesome training resources that are available. The Microsoft Educator community, which do encourage people to get involved in. And that's great. So I know it's a very, very quick look through. We have gone enthusiastically over the 10 minutes or so.
Is it 10 minutes yet?
Oh, are we there, Papa Smith? But yeah, thank you very much for joining me, Tom.
Sure.
I know for those who've probably been looking at or joined us partway through, may have wondered, well, what's going on? Daryl's frozen gaze there. I did bump a cable or two partway through. I lost Tom briefly. We came back, but I couldn't quite get my video going, so excuse the strange expression. But again, thank you, Tom, for joining us, and I look forward to being able to catch up with you again about some of these changes.
Sure, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, and thanks for helping me out with this experimental YouTube live broadcast. It's been a lot of fun.
Good.
Okay, so yeah, thank you everyone. I will sign off, and we'll catch up with Tom and yourselves later. Please keep an eye out for tweets or little announcements to say Daryl's going to try and do another live thingo again. We might get some of our other contacts on to discuss some of the education world, some Office 365 bits and pieces. Hopefully we'll make this an exciting thing to try and follow and be quite engaging. Thank you everyone, and we'll see you again later.